Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR, HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR, HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
Welcome to the Practical Mystic with Maureen St Germain, talk radio to help make every day a day of heaven on earth. Using the information we provide, you'll learn practical living tools to make your life meaningful, joyful, and fun. I'm here today with Maureen St Germain, mystic, mom, and author. She teaches advanced spiritual techniques in ascension work. You'll come away empowered and transformed. Since 1994, she has traveled and taught meditation, sacred geometry, and manifestation. Her numerous published works include books, CDs, DVDs, and are bestsellers on Amazon and in bookstores. My name is Kim Barron, and I'm here with the Practical Mystic Maureen St Germain. I work with Maureen, and I'm a student of all things spiritual, and together we intend to inspire you to be your best self. We have got a great show for you today. We are talking about ritual and prayer and what it can do for you and what it can do for mass consciousness. And hello, Maureen.
Hi. It's so awesome to do this show with you, Kim. It's so much fun.
Thank you. And likewise. So today we are talking about ritual and prayer, and you have been practicing ritual and prayer for most of your life. Can you kind of give us a little bit of history on how you use both?
Well, that we're going to fill the whole hour with that one. But what I'd like to say is ritual has always been important to me. I grew up Catholic, and in that tradition, there's quite a bit of ritual. And initially, as a child, you think that that's what worshiping God is. And I've always had a deep love for God and all things mystical. And so that was the expression I chose initially to experience. What does that mean? Ritual, like the ritual around communion or a child's first Holy Communion, the ritual around going to confession. It's these sacraments, these huge ways of doing things, and they tie in to mass consciousness who are doing the same thing. For example, long after I stopped being a practicing Catholic, I was still doing the rosary.
Wow.
And there were two reasons why I continued to do it. Number one, my big devotion to Mother Mary. But secondly, I knew that I was tapping into the energy of all the people who have ever done the rosary. Mm. And that my prayer was bigger because I was part of a bigger scene, kind of like, the Super Bowl. The energy of that football game is no different than any other football game, except it's hugely different because so many people are watching at the same time. It's the same thing. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about that this time, because I knew that would be coming up.
Wow, absolutely. So you're saying everything, it all ties into that mass consciousness. That's, So now also any kind of devotion, whether you're Catholic or Native American, the Sufis, they whirl, they're really all forms of prayer, wouldn't you say?
Yes, they are. In fact, they call it ecstatic dance for a reason, because it puts you in a very, very, very spiritual state. That's a very good point to bring that up. And there's something very special about groups that are praying together consciously. And we had a brief discussion before the show about that. And Kim, you should share your experience about how when you were a practicing Catholic, you could do certain things.
What I was saying is that I went to Catholic school 1st through 5th grade, and I felt like a lot of the prayers that we were saying became rote. And so I, even to this day, can recite these prayers, but be thinking about something else at the exact same time. So, how I had related that is that in Greg Braden's book, now I'm blanking on the name, the one about prayer, he says that what you need is to have feeling behind those words, and the words themselves don't mean anything unless you actually have that meaning. It's called the lost mode of prayer. So you have to have that meaning behind each word and feel those words. And you had said what?
Well, one of the things that I know is that when you join in prayer, and your prayer is mindless, let's say, you're saying the rosary because everyone else is saying it, not saying it with clear awareness of the words and your intention of connecting with the Blessed Virgin, what happens is your prayer does get used and, aligned with everyone else who's doing the rosary, and if they don't have the same thoughts you do, their intentions are going to be stronger because you have no intention with it. You're just reciting out loud.
Yes, and how you put it is that you're putting gas in their tank.
Yeah.
That was a great way to put it. It's true. So it's really not helping you, but it's helping other people, really. So that's just amazing to me. Yeah. And also getting back to the Sufis and Native Americans, they dance for prayer. Sometimes it doesn't even have to be in the form of words. Do you agree about that?
Yes, that's very true. And in fact, there's even a form of ritual that's done once a year called the sun dance that Native Americans do, and they literally thread a leather strap through their skin and dance and let it in the sun, and it's puts them into a state of ecstasy. It's very painful, of course, but it's something that's done as a ritual that's part of the transition of certain things. So let's talk about how we can use prayer and ritual in our own life.
Perfect.
One of the things that I highly recommend is that you recognize that as we stop and break for bread, we stop for lunch, for us in our living life, we have a breakfast time, and then we go off to work, or we go off to whatever our duties are for the day, and then we take a break and we do lunch, and then we take a break in the evening. And as we shift in transition from the morning cycle to the afternoon cycle, it's an ideal time to pray. So the very first time you pray might be praying over your food. Mm-hmm. It does change the energy, and you don't have to do a lot. You don't have to even say it out loud if you're in a public place. Mm-hmm. But I always say, thank you, God, for this amazing food. And whenever I'm with people that I know are spiritual, I ask them, do you say grace? And recently I had dinner with friends that I had met over the Internet. I'd seen this man's art. His name is Andre Belog, and I fell in love with the art, and I went looking for him, found him, reached out to him, and we became very good friends. And when he saw I was going to be at the Conscious Life Expo, he said, do you have time to come to our home for dinner? So we were there a few days early and did that. And I looked at them when we were just about to sit down, and I said, do you guys say grace? Because I knew they were very devout Jewish people and that they practiced the Jewish traditions. And he said, yes. And I said, well, would you like to do grace? And he said, actually, I'd like you to do grace. And the grace that came out of my lips made me cry, which is funny when you think about it. But I was, first we thanked God for the food, then we thanked God for the cook who was the artist himself. And then I said, I want to thank God for this marvelous thing called the Internet that brought us all together. And that's where we're at today. So all of you who are listening, thank you so much for listening. And thank you, God, for this wonderful thing we call the Internet, which has brought us together. It's so amazing.
It really is. It really is.
Now, there's lots of other kinds of rituals you can do, and ritual is so important when you want to make a change, when you want to do something different. For example, I have a program called Bring in Your Beloved, and one of the things that I teach people in that is when you're ready to bring in a beloved, write down in a ritual way certain things, put it with a crystal, set it on your altar, I tell people to write down, for example, how to write love letters to your beloved that you have not yet met. And you write the letters in a way that say, I'm so happy that we finally connected. I never thought I'd be this happy with someone, and here you are. And you write the letters if you know the person already, but you're just not with them in the moment. And you write a letter like that every time you're lonesome, every time you're feeling alone, every time you're wishing for that special someone. So it's very sweet and special to do that as a ritual for yourself. And you could do that really for anything you want, but that's one, concept you could apply to lots of different things, whether it's, hey, Mom, I'm writing you from college, and it's a pretend journal because you haven't gotten into college yet.
That's sweet. That is sweet. Yeah, and you make it a practice, and it seems like it ties into what most people would call intention as well. So you make a practice out of these intentions, and it becomes a ritual, and then really becomes a prayer out into the universe. Is kind of how I'm taking it.
Yes, and I think that's a really good point. So here's the thing. Some of us are very verbose. We have active minds. We have active ideas, and we don't have any trouble at all sitting down and saying a prayer out loud or saying a prayer in our thought. And then there's those of us who are a little more, we're more visual with pictures, so words aren't really our thing. And it's harder to come up with a prayer that works for us, that's spontaneous and in the moment. One of the things that I found many, many years ago that I absolutely loved was Marianne Williamson's book called The Illuminata. And it is a book of prayers and rituals. So if you're looking for a handbook to do that sort of thing, I would recommend her book. There's amazing prayers in there. For example, there's a prayer for baptism. Well, that's obvious. We want to, honor our children and honor their being born. There's a prayer for marriage, but there's also a prayer for a divorce. Who would have thought?
Right.
And I think that's really, really cool because you're blessing your partner, you're thanking them for the time you had together, you're wishing them well, and you're breaking your contract. All formally done in a ritual and ceremony.
And I think that it brings closure as well.
Exactly. It does. Now, for everyone, if you can, ritual is enhanced greatly by using the 4 elements, earth, air, fire, and water. So we primarily think of fire because we often light a candle, and that's highly recommended. So anytime you want to do a special ritual, you want to pray for something very specific, you want to create a special ceremony to bring something together, look at how you can use the elements. So maybe put some crystals on your altar. That's earth. Fire is your candle. The air is, the breath coming out of you. And then the water could be simply having a drink of water, having water on the altar, just holding a flower, for example. That would be sufficient. And the reason you bring in the elements is because there's something about connecting with the earth in your ceremony that magnifies it. So then the elemental kingdom can join in because you've brought them in energetically.
I love that. And the one thing that came to mind when you were talking about all this, that all of this, the ceremony, the ritual, the practice, just the prayer, everything, what it really does is it raises your vibration to be in that state of gratefulness or something that you want to align with. And that's where everything happens, is when you're in that alignment.
That's right, that state of grace, where you're in that place of sincere intention, sincere out-picturing. And prayers do not go unanswered. Prayers always get answered. Sometimes our prayers, we think our prayers aren't answered because we ask for one thing, then we worry and fear. That's a prayer that takes it away.
Mm.
So when you make a prayer for something, you have to trust that the prayer is being handled. you give an order to a waiter in a restaurant. You don't follow that waiter back in there and say, now don't forget, to bring my silverware and don't forget to hold the dressing. You trust that the order you gave is going to be fulfilled.
Sure.
And when we fill our lives and our thoughts with fear and worry, we are antidoting our powerful prayer. So sometimes our prayers we're putting out, and then we're taking them away. We're putting them out and taking them away.
So they're just about to get answered, and it switches gears.
Yeah. So we have to be aware. This is also true when we can do what is called accidental magic. How many times have people accidentally created curses on people that they didn't know they were doing? And I'll give you an example. Let's say your best friend has something terrible happen. Maybe they're raped, or some physical thing happens to them that's being caused by another gender. And the best friend, in an effort to support, makes a very strong statement about men in general, or that particular person if they know who it is. And what happens is it's a curse then that sits on that person. Years ago, I was in a conversation with a woman who was an angelic channel, and I was with another lady, and the three of us were having lunch. And the third person said, Maureen, tell my friend what you think about this current president. And so I said what I thought, that he was a very high being and that he was an emissary of the light. And this woman looked at me and she says, well, I don't agree at all because, I can see all this black energy on him, blah, blah, blah. And my friend knew what I had already told her, so it was kind of a setup. And I looked at this lady who was an angelic channel, and I said, well, you have abilities to read the field, so you're obviously seeing something. And I said, but why don't you ask if what you're seeing is all the negative energy that's being thrown on him by all the people. And she went quiet for a minute, and then she did this. And looked at me and said, you are right.
Oh, I would have never thought that, but that happened.
Of course.
Wow.
People get criticized all the time.
Right.
But sometimes the so-called dark energy that you see is somebody else's mud that they've thrown. And the way to know the difference is to stay in your heart. And your heart then can connect with their heart. It also means that when you stay in your heart, when you choose to be kind and unconditional, then you're not accidentally doing magic, not accidentally cursing someone by, making some pejorative about men in general or women in general. And it's funny because I hear people now in my inner circle, I speak up. In my outer circle, I keep my mouth shut. But, people in my inner circle, my family, my spouse, and so on, if they make, that's how women are, I immediately say, no, we can't go there because that can create a form of a negative prayer. And so we want to be aware that our announcements go out into the universe forever. So we may as well pay attention and work with that.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the terms that have, or little phrases that have come out recently that I hear all the time are cancel clear. Cancel clear that, if somebody says something, no, you don't even want to put that out there. Just cancel clear it.
Yes, and this is a good time to explain that. That's a real nice shorthand. And what it means is cancel the aforementioned thought or statement and then clear the field. Mm-hmm. Some people used to say cancel. And they think they're, canceling it twice, but what's really happening is they're canceling their thought, and then they're canceling the cancel. So if you're going to use that phrase to make up for a blurb,
right,
or, a mistake, then use it, cancel clear.
Got it.
And the first person I ever heard this from was Joan Ocean, a lovely woman who is very connected with the dolphins and the whales and the ETs. So,
yeah, I love that. So, getting back to what we talked about, getting prayers answered, one thing that I heard a long time ago that made a lot of sense, and I think it can work also for people that have so much chatter in their heads, that a prayer is like asking the question, and then meditation is waiting for the answer.
Very nice. I like that very much. And those of you who aren't meditating, do yourself a favor and find a way. And if you don't know what to meditate on, again, we're talking about resources here. You know, I have lots of meditation CDs that you can download from my website for under $10, and I have a free meditation every single month. So all you have to do is check online once a month, and you can download a free set of prayers that will be helpful to you in your life in some way.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff on your website. There's all kinds of the prayers in case somebody wants to go on one of your sacred journeys. There's, like you say, all your meditation CDs. That's a great, and that's at www.maureenstgermain.com. And when we come back, we're going to take just a short break here. But Maureen, I'd like to talk about ceremony being spontaneous, that you can do spontaneous ceremony, and then you had an experience in France on this last sacred journey that you went to that I'd like to talk about.
Yeah, we can talk about them when we get back. I would like to also add, before we go for our break, that there's such a thing as prayer wheels and prayer flags, so we'll talk about that too.
Okay, that sounds great, and we will be back right after this message.
Essential oils have been used since ancient times, but there has never been a formulation as amazing and original as Maureen St Germain's Aro Mandalas, a line of essential oils that combine 3 spiritual and healing traditions. No matter what negative emotional issue you may be dealing with, there is an Aro Mandalas essential oil that can help you grow and reach a positive emotional response. So clear out those unwanted emotions and feel empowered with Aro Mandalas essential oils. Visit MaureenStGermain.com and click on Essential Oil Blends. That's MaureenStGermain.com.
Shh! Over here. Here's a secret for a virus-free computer. ESET. They've been a pioneer in the antivirus industry for over 25 years. 25 years of innovative, top-rated antivirus protection. ESET's award-winning security solutions provide a safe online experience for over 100 million home and business computer owners. They are so affordable, fast, and simple to use. So be gone, you blue screen of death. ESET's on my computer. If it's not on yours, visit HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on ESET now.
So, you want to change your life? Well, I have a great, easy, and stress-free way on how to do that. Get a guided meditation with Maureen St Germain. Powerful guided meditations on CDs. Or you can download an MP3 to your computer or tablet. There's so many to choose from, and once you get one, they are so reasonably priced and work so well. You'll probably want them all, and why not? Visit MaureenStGermain.com and click on Books and Media. Do it now. MaureenStGermain.com. Books and Media. And help change your life now.
Radio Your Way. HealthyLife.net.
Attention, Practical Mystic listeners. Here's a deal you won't want to refuse. If you've ever wanted a chance to get a free Akashic reading with Maureen St Germain, then here's all you have to do to increase your chance for a totally free reading. Email Maureen. Tell her your problem, and if your story is used on the Practical Mystic Show, then you'll win a 30-minute Akashic reading with Maureen St Germain. How easy is that? And the email address is easy to remember, too. radio@MaureenStGermain.com. Email her now and get a chance at that free reading. radio@MaureenStGermain.com.
HealthyLife.net, the positive radio network.
And we are back with the Practical Mystic, Maureen St Germain. And Maureen, when we left, we were going to be talking about when ceremony can become spontaneous. and you had a ceremony that you did in France that I'd like you to tell the listeners about.
Yeah, we touched briefly about this on our last episode, so if you'd like to know more about this, follow my blogs. I've written extensively on this, as well as we talked a little bit about this on our Mary Magdalene show. In this case, what happened to me is we were preparing for a big ceremony in a very special cave that was used for ritual and ceremony by Mary Magdalene and many, many generations after that. So we're in this amazing location, and there's this beautiful altar rock that had really amazing energy. And I could feel that the altar rock was energetically misaligned with its original alignment, and it's aligned to the grids. So even though I wasn't thinking of this or trying to do something, I kept getting the message. The rock is misaligned. You need to realign it. So I asked if we could energetically build the alignment back to the grids that it was supposed to be connected to, because I got a very clear picture that the people who moved the rock deliberately moved the rock so that it wouldn't be in the same location, and it would disconnect it or unplug it from those grids. The people who would do ceremony wouldn't get the bigger benefit of being part of a sacred spot. And we haven't talked yet about portals and sacred sites that also lend themselves to ritual and prayer. So going back to this situation, what happened is I checked in. I was getting very clear messages to do this, very clear messages on what had happened and why. But I still didn't presume that I was the know-it-all or the be-it-all, and so I asked the group to check in, and they all got the same thing. So as a group, we put our hands on this huge slab of stone, and the slab of stone, was not circular, but kind of oval-like, but not a complete oval. It's just kind of jagged, but as big as a footprint you might find of a small car, a good-sized rock. And we all put our hands on it, and we pretended that we were levitating it back to its new location, and then we built energy lines from the new location into the rock where it was, so that we created first a connection to it and then lines to it. This was all spontaneous. That gave us information and direction on what we were to do. And then, of course, there was a second thing that happened, and that was after we did this, my guides came in and told me, ask for the golden heart. Now, I have such an ongoing dialogue with my guides and my angels that when I heard the statement, ask for the golden heart, I said, okay, I'd like to have the golden heart. And that's a much longer story, but I was given a golden heart that holds the whole earth.
Wow, so you're holding space basically for the whole, and holding energy.
Mm-hmm. And I encompass the whole earth in this golden heart, yeah.
Wow. That's, yeah. I think you did write about that in one of your blogs, because that is definitely worth the read. So please go to Maureen's blog, and you can access that also on the website. And that changes every month. You have a new one. So, gosh, that's just great.
Yeah, so let's talk about different kinds of ritual that you can do for yourself. So you can make up a ritual. And if you make up a ritual, you want to figure out what it is you want to accomplish first. What is your goal here? Do you want to attract a beloved? Do you want to find a new home? Do you want to sell your home? Whatever it is. Sure. Make a ritual, and you do a ceremony, and then you set it up and do an altar if you can. So you put out a nice cloth, you put your candle and your rocks on it, and you have a moment where you go into that ritual of, we're here, we're claiming our right to be here, and we're asking for assistance from all of heaven. Once you do that, that's your beginning. Then you have a middle where you say what it is you desire. And then you have the ending. What is it that we are giving thanks for, and what are we grateful for? What that does, it sets the stage, just like an opera or a piece of classical music has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it also has a coda where you repeat the middle part over and over. The same with a prayer or a ritual.
Sure. And is it helpful to write it out and put it on the altar?
Yes, it is. It's especially helpful to write it out and put it on the altar, because when you write something, it gives more power to it than if you just speak it. The spoken word is very, very powerful, because you can't take that away. You can't pull it out of the ethers. If you write something, it can be burned. One of the things that I would like to share with you is the idea that at every phase, morning, noon, evening, you can have a prayer. You know, we think of the Islamic call to prayer and how they hear that recording call to prayer, and it's a reminder to stop and take a moment. Mm-hmm. Now, I know men of Islam who literally get down on their knees and do the prayer in the traditional way. Oh. The other day I was in a taxi, and the call to prayer came on over his radio, and I stopped, and he said, "This is my call to prayer," and I said, "I know, I recognized it." And it was amazing to me, because this man was holding that ritual even though he was driving a car.
Wow.
And so there is a new phase that we take on after each transition. So in the morning you have one kind of thing that goes on. In the afternoon you have a different kind of a thing that goes on. And in the evening you have a third thing that goes on. And if you recognize that, you can actually benefit from just taking a moment and saying, I am claiming all the benefits of this new energy of sitting at my desk after lunch. It seems like a silly thing to say, but it'll actually help you stay focused and on task. The other thing is, you can actually do a prayer like this in the morning. And I'm going to read this prayer that's in a book. Feel free to scribe it. It's called Morning Prayer. I ask that the full expression of my highest self be ever present with me this day. I ask for the masters, teachers, and guides of me to be ever present this day. And I ask to be given full access to my four lower bodies. That's your opening. Then the middle part, I offer myself in humble gratitude and service to the Great White Brotherhood and legions of 100% white light and beings of 100% white light who are here working with me. And then the close. I ask that this divine guidance assist me and allow me to pursue my soul's highest purpose in this lifetime with the most evolved appearance possible that expresses in the kindest and most generous and gentle way. Now what happens when you make that kind of an invocation, it sets the tone for your day. So what is the difference between prayer and ritual? I guess we have to talk about that briefly, and then maybe we can get back to it. But prayer is using the mind and often the mouth. That's prayer. Ritual is when you create a physical expression of that, whether it's swinging a prayer wheel, whether it's setting up an altar, whether it's hanging a prayer flag.
I think that you're making such a great point that you don't have to spend a lot of time. You can even condense your prayer into something that is going to work for you any time of day, just like the taxi driver did. Mm-hmm. I think that's fantastic. So when we get back, we'll talk a little bit more about the expression of prayer and ritual. So we'll talk to you in just a few.
So, you want to change your life? Well, I have a great, easy, and stress-free way on how to do that. Get a guided meditation with Maureen St Germain. Powerful guided meditations on CDs. Or you can download an MP3 to your computer or tablet. There's so many to choose from, and once you get one, they are so reasonably priced and work so well. You'll probably want them all, and why not? Visit MaureenStGermain.com and click on Books and Media. Do it now. MaureenStGermain.com. Books and Media. And help change your life now.
When you're looking for bedding, department store prices can shock you. We'll be shocked no more. Sell steak cheap, not cheap steak. That's the motto of Anna's Linens. Although they don't sell steak, they do sell the best bedding, bath, and home decor items. They strive to provide their merchandise at extreme value to their customers, and they do it. Great everyday prices on everything and military discounts. Plus, if you visit them online, they have clearance items and internet specials. Visit them online now at HealthyLife.net's advertiser page.
The loving, healing energy of the Akashic Records is a profound tool for self-exploration and empowerment, and these records include every thought, word, and deed of your life throughout time. With so much information, you will probably need a guide to help you access and interpret it. That's where Maureen St Germain's trained and certified Akashic Record guides can help. Discover what you really need to know with an Akashic Record guide reading. For more information, visit AkashicRecordsGuides.org. or visit MaureenStGermain.com and click Akashic Readings. Essential oils have been used since ancient times, but there has never been a formulation as amazing and original as Maureen St Germain's Aro Mandalas, a line of essential oils that combine 3 spiritual and healing traditions. No matter what negative emotional issue you may be dealing with, there is an Aro Mandalas essential oil that can help you grow and reach a positive emotional response. So clear out those unwanted emotions and feel empowered with Aro Mandalas essential oils. Visit MaureenStGermain.com and click on Essential Oil Blends. That's MaureenStGermain.com.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.
And welcome back. We are here with Maureen St Germain, the practical mystic, and we are talking about prayer and ritual. Before we get started back on that, I just want to remind you to please go to www.MaureenStGermain.com. There is a wealth of information there. So that's MaureenStGermain. You can find a complete collection of Maureen's books, meditation CDs. She has an entire line of Aro Mandalas essential oil blends. Check out what classes are happening. She's got a couple of teleclasses that are going to be coming up. So please go to the events page and check that out. And every month there's also a free download. So, Maureen, we are back, and you were talking about the expression of prayer and ritual.
Yes, so we think of ritual as a way to enhance your prayer. Prayer you can do anytime, anywhere. Mm-hmm. You know, men in prison use prayer because sometimes that's the only thing they have. The joke is you can tie my hands, but you can't tie up my mind. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I'm sorry. Something just came to my mind. One time I heard Michael Beckwith say something to the effect that, I did my prayer this morning while I was mowing my lawn. So while he's mowing his lawn, he's meditating and praying as, he's doing something mundane just to take that time and get it in for the day. So it doesn't have to be, you don't have to sit there and chunk out big, huge parts of your day. Is that correct?
Yes, that's very true. And this is another very powerful thing to recognize. And I have had many experiences mowing my lawn, so I can really relate to that. I was actually mowing my lawn and meditating on 9/11 on that day, and I got the full download of what was going on.
Wow.
What I will say, mowing your lawn is similar to when you walk a labyrinth. And we've heard of walking a labyrinth as a ritual. And the reason walking a labyrinth is so powerful is because you are literally going in one direction, and then you turn around and go in the opposite direction. And then you go again in the first direction, and you go a little further, and then you have to turn around and go again backwards, and moving forward past the place you were at. And it literally is a form of introspection and a place where you can be praying and you can be receiving. So if you're one of those people who have monkey mind and you just can't seem to open to receive, then consider when you're doing something very mundane, whether it's folding the laundry or washing dishes or carpet sweeping, put on some sweet meditation music. Stay with the music if you can, and let the music take you in a place of devotion and ritual. Even if it's something as simple as, I'm so grateful that I have a vacuum cleaner that I can clean up, in this house.
I love that.
So, one of the things that I want to go back and get really clear is this business of ritual and this business of beginning, middle, and end are very, very important to this concept of ritual. So the difference between a prayer and a ritual has to do with this decision to create a structure. So a ritual is something that has structure. And the difference between ritual and a habit or a routine is that ritual has a structure and it has a purpose. A routine, mowing the lawn, sweeping the kitchen, whatever it is, that's a routine, or it's something that you do on a regular basis. And it isn't until you put something into it to make it a ritual with a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Like right now, I'm kind of blown away because I don't do this as much as I should, even being within a spiritual practice. I don't practice it enough. It's what I'm thinking about right now, and thinking, my gosh, I have so much time now that I can do that, and I am going to absolutely take all those little bits of time and use them wisely.
That's fabulous, and I will jump
that.
in and tell you, this is from my new book, Waking Up in 5D, that hasn't been put out there yet, but maybe by the time you're listening, you will be able to get your hands on this book. And, you said this term, blown away, which I used to say way too much.
Uh-huh.
Because I think of it as a very happy explosion.
Yes.
And so I am offering now new terms for you. One is, I'm having a happy explosion about this, instead of I'm blown away. And another one is, I'm bursting with happiness. I'm bursting with joy. I'm bursting with excitement. I'm bursting with curiosity.
I love that.
And so those words then become a joyful expression.
Right.
It's a big aha for me.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's really what's been happening. Is I've been having lots of ahas today.
Yeah.
So, my gosh. Now, one of the other things I definitely want to talk about today, and I know this is going by so quickly because there's so much information, is what your pineal gland has to do with prayer, with having this pineal activation, and how important that is.
So this cycle of time in the reality, we are being faced with a rapid transformation. It is something that is moving through the reality. There are way showers. There are people that are ahead of the curve. There are people who are having, wide open Kundalini activations that are giving them huge breakthroughs. One of the things that happens, though, is we have to make sure the personality is keeping up with the physical structure. Now, imagine for a moment that you have a grown physical being with the mind of a child. Now, we think of that in terms of certain kinds of disorders, children with Downs or other kinds of afflictions that keep them from operating like most adults. They don't necessarily have the ability to judge a situation to prevent harm to themselves or another. So imagine if we have these new skills being loaded up and they're readily available and we tap into them, but we don't know what we're doing. There are horror stories about things that can occur with people who are misusing the activations that are coming through them, whether they're spontaneous or whether they're purposeful. So one of the things we have to do is make sure that our mind and our heart are in alignment.
Got it.
And one of the things that happens to many people, and it happened to me as well, I had so much book knowledge, but my personality had not caught up. And so what happened to me is there started to be a little bit of a disconnect where I believed in unconditional love for everyone else, but I wasn't practicing it all the time. And I still had judgment about other people, and we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Okay, great. Yeah, so we're going to take just another break here then. I definitely want to get back to this, and hopefully you'll have some tips on how people can activate this pineal, because it seems to be a really important part of getting the prayers answered, just to have that openness to Source. So when we come back, we're going to talk again to Maureen St Germain, the Practical Mystic, and we'll be right back.
The loving, healing energy of the Akashic Records is a profound tool for self-exploration and empowerment, and these records include every thought, word, and deed of your life throughout time. With so much information, you will probably need a guide to help you access and interpret it. That's where Maureen St Germain's trained and certified Akashic Record guides can help. Discover what you really need to know with an Akashic Record guide reading. For more information, visit AkashicRecordsGuides.org or visit MaureenStGermain.com and click Akashic Readings.
Okay, so you have a couple of days off, and you're planning to get away from stress. You may be planning to go across the world or even taking a staycation around town. Well, Hotels.com can get you a room in over 158,000 hotels, 60 countries for 50% off. That's reducing stress already. Plus, collect 10 nights, and you'll get 1 night free. And there's no cancellation charges, no change fees. For the best deals, even last-minute deals, visit HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on Hotels.com.
Essential oils have been used since ancient times, but there has never been a formulation as amazing and original as Maureen St Germain's Aro Mandalas, a line of essential oils that combine 3 spiritual and healing traditions. No matter what negative emotional issue you may be dealing with, there is an Aro Mandalas essential oil that can help you grow and reach a positive emotional response. So clear out those unwanted emotions and feel empowered with Aro Mandalas essential oils. Visit MaureenStGermain.com and click on Essential Oil Blends. That's MaureenStGermain.com.
Where positive people and radio unite. HealthyLife.net.
And we are back with Maureen St Germain, the Practical Mystic, and we are talking about prayer and ritual and its relation to a pineal activation. And Maureen, can you give us an idea on some things that we can do to enhance that the pineal activation?
Yeah, let's first talk about why would you want to activate your pineal gland. And the pineal gland is considered the third eye. And it is considered, it is the gland that sits at the center of the brain between the right and left hemisphere, and it produces a serotonin and melatonin, these enzymes that activate certain experiences in the brain. Now, activating the pineal gland is not something that you do casually. For some, this activation occurs spontaneously when they're not necessarily expecting it. Mm-hmm. And for others, it happens in meditation. And sometimes it just happens, like it just happens. I had a pineal activation happen one day when I was in my garden, and I was talking to the elemental kingdom, and I simply said, I really wish I could hear you guys. And suddenly I could. So that aspect opened up just by me asking for it. And I really wasn't asking for it in the way that most people ask for things. I was simply lamenting, I really wish I could hear you guys. And so my wish was fulfilled in that moment. Now, what I also want to alert you as a listener, the pineal, activating the pineal is the gateway to opening yourself to higher understanding, higher evolution, higher states of being, higher consciousness. And what that does for you is allows you to live your physical life in a way that is more fulfilling and more satisfying. It allows you to pursue your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual goals in a more aligned to your own divine plan version than you can without it.
Wow.
99% of the time you need to be meditating on a regular basis to have that happen. So if you're looking for a surefire way of activating your pineal gland, meditation is it.
Yeah, and I know that there are some things and some chemicals that can actually suppress that activation, and fluoride is actually one of them. So, and it's
but it's not just fluoride; it's synthetic fluoride. Because we did talk about that.
We did, yes. It's synthetic fluoride that is added to the
water in
municipal, the municipal water sources. Yeah.
Also, synthetic calcium is also known to hold back the opening of the pineal.
Wow.
And it also turns out that gluten does this to the pineal and closes it down. So those of you who are on a gluten-free diet, maybe you're on a gluten-free diet because your body doesn't like gluten for other reasons, but you're going to get a benefit because it will be easier for you to open up your pineal gland because you're not ingesting bread like most Americans do, you know, pizza and whatever.
Sure. Yeah, I did not know that. And it could be why people are so sensitive to it nowadays, too, that it's just a deterrent all around, that they were meant to.
Yeah, and when you start to look at all the things that are fortified with synthetic calcium, it's pretty scary that, you know, we have milk that's fortified, yogurt that's fortified, vitamins that have extra calcium that's not, you know, synthetic. And this contributes to the holding back of the pineal. And the pineal being open gives you your spiritual gifts. It gives you the ability of sight, of hearing, of feeling bigger than what your body is capable of. You know, I joke around sometimes when I'm doing either session work for people, and sometimes just in casual conversation, I'm being empathetic, and it's like I'm in a session even if we're not. And my joke is, if my voice goes all froggy, it is you, your power issue, your problem, your resistance around that subject. And it gets quite funny because sometimes I alert people before a conversation, and then when it happens and they hear it, it's like, oh no, she's on to me, I can't hide.
Oh, I love it.
But that's one of the gifts of this pineal activation, is this awareness that's bigger than just me. And it's also why many of us who are reading in the Akashic Records, we can feel things in our physical body that energetically represent something. So if you feel something on the right side of your body, that is a male kind of issue. And if you feel it on the left side of the body, it's a female type issue. Furthermore, we can tell you that everybody has this experience of goosebumps or goose flesh or body tingles, whatever you want to call it. And when you get that, you can know that that is your body resonating with the information that's being presented.
Right. It's like confirmation.
Yes. So I've nicknamed that experience, which is very common among humans, whether you're into this stuff or not. I call that body confirmation. So if you're in a conversation with someone and they say something and you get a goose flesh or, you know, the body tingles, you can be sure that your body already recognizes that information as valid. You are in resonance with that other person, and you get the ringing, literally, of your cells in unison. That's what that feeling is.
God, I love that. And the more we work on this, it seems, with ritual, prayer, practice, the more instances that we will have lots of those confirmations, because we'll be more in tune and more in alignment with the source.
That's right. That's right. Now, we've talked about some foods that are problematic for activating your pineal, but let's talk about foods that are beneficial And one of the things is a product that's made by a number of different companies, and it's Oramus, and it's a microscopic gold that is specifically made to help open up that third eye and to help you activate your centers so that you can be aware of it.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, and it is a type of a gold, and it's kind of like in very small parts, right? Mm-hmm. Like a mitochondrion or something like that.
That's right.
Right.
Now,
wow.
So in the food category, you want to eat healthy, organic, raw, the best you can. Follow your heart and ask your heart, what food is best for me today? And we all can benefit from that, because I think practically everybody in America has a little tiny bit of a sugar thing going on.
Exactly. And you had also mentioned about praying over your food, which is also a great thing, especially if there's something on there that is, you might be in a restaurant that they don't use all organic, and just kind of raise that vibration. I just love it. Well, we've had such a great show here today. I could talk about this for another hour. So is there anything that you want to say that's in closing?
Well, we have the opportunity, each and every one of us, to understand that we can bless our life greatly by taking the time to make rituals with our sacred objects, with our awareness of our prayer and intention, and create that continuum of deep knowing that there is something more than just us. And by using these tools, we enhance our life, make it richer and easier, which is all part of the game.
Well, thank you so much, Maureen, and please join us again every month. It's the second Monday of every month at 2 o'clock Pacific, 5 o'clock Eastern, and we look forward to you next month. And next month we have a really exciting show. It's going to be on You Are a Multidimensional Being. So that is going to be really exciting, especially since your new book is coming out, Waking Up in 5D. Please look at Maureen's website, www.maureenstgermain.com, and we will see you next month. Thank you for joining us.